Hello and welcome, Lynx here, and it is another day of Sakura Alien 2. Which, surprisingly enough, at the moment of the recording, the second recording, my video is still the only one out there. Do people not like Sakura games anymore? Well, whatever. If I don't, oh, not my problem. I want to play them still, so if there's new, we'll play it. Anywho, let's check what's going to happen over here. Because technically we have not played the full day, so we'll finish it today. And maybe we'll touch some part of another day in the game, we'll see. I arrive on campus about 15 minutes later with Haru in tow. We say our farewells, then head to our own respective departments to begin the day. Haru to the humanities block, because as we know she studies literature. I to the sciences, physics. The sheer cold of the day slowed down my commute somehow. Or should I say somewhat. And I'm a bit later arriving at my lecture hall than I'd usually be. My lecture started 5 minutes ago. Dude, you are safe, easy. And my fellow students are already there, warming their hands beneath their thighs and booting up their laptops. How embarrassing. No, how is it that... Again, I would be like 15 to 20 minutes late. And it will be fine. You barely missed anything. The lecturer didn't even enter yet. Anyway, I slink into my seat near the front of the lecture hall, then glance up sheepishly at my lecturer. I can't help but feel guilty over my tardiness. What is wrong with this guy? Part of me thinks I should apologize. That's probably why I got called a nerd back in high school, but... I blink, taken back when my eyes meet those of my lecturers. Ah, hello there! No, wait, like this. Multiverse theory. I was expecting the grey, grizzled Professor Arata. Arata. Wasn't there an Arata protagonist in Sakura games? I feel like there was. But the person standing before the whiteboard at the front of the room couldn't be more different from him if they tried. For one thing, the person manning today's lecture isn't a man at all. She is a woman. For another, she's a very young, stylish, undoubtedly good-looking woman. She cuts a fine figure with her charcoal grey high-necked sweater and her skin-tight pencil skirt. Her hair is dark, tied back into buns, and her eyes are pale purple, fringed with black lashes. She might be best girl in Sakura Alien in the end. She holds a marker pen in one hand, her slender fingers curled deftly about it. I can see even from a distance that her nails are painted black. No, that's definitely purple. That is definitely purple, man. Too much her snugly fitting out skirt. This is definitely purple. She wouldn't look at all out of place on a catwalk. She does look somewhat incongruous, however, in this lecture hall. It's not that I don't think women can be professors or anything. Far from it. I'm no chauvinist. But she's so different from Professor Arata, it throws me for a loop. This is quite the surprise, but... No way. I'm more surprised to find that I recognize her. This is... the pretty woman I saw outside! The clumsy woman I saw outside. Wait, no, not here. Delete this, thank you. I'm gonna have to say first one. Oh! The woman's eyes meet mine, and as they do, realization seems to dawn upon her own face. So she's recognized me. The last time I saw her, she was sprawled on the ground, her legs spread, her pantsu. I was trying not to stare, but I still got a knife full of black silk on display. I didn't think I'd see her again so suddenly, if at all. Well, this is awkward. The woman must share my sentiments, because her face turns pink. Perturbed, she folds her arms across her chest, then says in a constrained voice, It was so good of you to join us, Mr. Takagi Haru. Mr. Takagi, I trust you're one of the students enrolled at this institution. No, I just had nothing better to do, so I came around here. Yeah, that's right. Good. Now allow me to make my acquaintance again. She sighs. Had you arrived sooner, I would have no need to repeat myself. This is most vexing. It is rude to waste ladies' time, you know. My apologies. I'll try to be more conscientious in the future, ma'am. See to it that you are. I know at university you are all adults, but I have no desire to teach those who do not respect me. Okay. I guess none of my lecturers had this approach. The woman cleared her throat, her eyes narrowing. My name is Professor... Your name is Professor, are you sure about that? First name? Is that first name, Professor? Sakai, and I'll be standing in for Professor Arata for the rest of the semester. Yes! I might be younger than Professor Arata, but I assure you, I'm perfectly competent in my field. I have no doubts about that. You will find me a strict disciplinarian, but I'm not, I think, unfair. I ask only that you act with basic courtesy, as befitting of grown men and women. Can you do that for me, Takagi? I'll do my best, Mom. You'd better. Professor Sakai frowns. You've done to endear me. To you, too far, Takagi. Do not take me lightly because my age. If you continue to irk me, I shall make you pay for it. Now, enough of this unpleasantness. Professor Sakai tears her eyes away from mine, then sweeps her gaze across that of the class. Time is wasting on, and we have a good deal to cover. Let us begin with this morning's lecture. If you have any questions, you may ask them at the end. I do not appreciate being interrupted. Oh yes, let's go. That's how it should be. Professor Sakai's gaze is a cold one, which serves only to affirm my words. She might be beautiful, but it's in an icy, unapproachable way. Basically, she's best girl. Is she the same woman I met earlier today, lying in an undignified heap on the ground? She's comporting herself so differently, I'm really beginning to wonder. Part of me wishes she's in the same woman, even though she obviously is, because our earlier interaction was so awkward. I can't stop thinking about her underwear. And I can't say I've ever had that problem when Professor Arata was teaching me. I mean, it would be a very big problem if you were thinking about this guy. Today really has been full of tribulations, and it's not even midday yet. Will I be able to make it to the end of the day unscathed? Who knows? Maybe not. Professor Sakai's lecture eventually comes to a close, and when it does, I hurry to quit the lecture hall. I'm halfway to the door when a voice calls to me, making me pause. Ugh. Excuse me, Mr. Takagi, but may I have a word? There's something I wish to discuss with you. What? I hang back, throwing my fingers curled about the strap of my messenger bag, and glance at the podium at the front of the lecture hall. Professor Sakai is standing there, tall and striking in the dark attire, her arms folded beneath her chest. Her face is pale from foundation, but I can see beneath the makeup that taps it the beginnings of blush. Perhaps she's thinking about the events which transpired in the morning, when she slipped out in the middle of the street. I'm no fortune teller. I don't believe in unscientific stuff like that, but I bet that's what she'll want to discuss. Yes, ma'am. Is something the matter? Yes, there is something the matter. Professor Sakai's reply is a terse one. Her lips are pressed together, and she doesn't look at all amused. Stiffly, or perhaps shyly, she glances about the lecture hall. She waits for the last of the students have left, tapping her fingers against the side of her arm until she looks at me once more. I wish to talk to you about the... Here, Professor Sakai clears her throat. She's trying to look unconcerned, but with every passing second her blush seems to grow more and more pronounced. We already decided that... I forgot about that, right? Not even her pale makeup can hide it. That's kind of cute. Isn't she too... She's not. That's kind of cute. It's pretty cute, actually. But maybe I think guiltily that's not a word I should use in conjunction with an adult woman. I don't know how old Professor Sakai is precisely, but as she's a university's lecturer, she must be in her late 20s at the very least. I wonder. Let's see. How to become a professor. Okay, you get that. Then you get that. Okay, so this is 3 years. Or 3.5, like it was in my case, like the first stage. Then it's... No, that's next is 5 in total, right? Yeah, that's next. Okay, so next one will be 2 years basically. So it's 5 or 5.5. And then to get the professor... Holy crap, okay. Then you go for a doctor. Which for some reason... Wait. Oh, minimum 2 years. Okay, so that's 7. Then you get another doctor. Which they don't tell me even how long that takes. Okay, okay. And the professor... Oh, okay, the professor you get when you work at the university already. Got it. So... Let's say it's... I don't know, like... okay, let's say 7 years, 9 years maybe? So you can be done with this at the age of 27 maybe? It's not that bad. It's not that bad. She's pretty young there. Am I saying that because I'm 29? Is she 28, 29? She could even be 30. For she doesn't look that old. How dare you saying that is old? That is not old. 30 is the new 20. I mean, if you think about it, it feels like that. You know, like... It feels like that. We live longer. And I think we actually get the hang of stuff in adult life kinda later. I still don't feel like I got the hang of everything, which is crazy. Maybe if this country didn't suck. Anyway. I wanted to talk to you about the incident which occurred this morning during my commute to the work. Uh-huh. So that's what it's about. It figured that much. It took Professor Sakai a while to spit that out. I guess she was embarrassed, but it doesn't come as any surprise. I wonder how I should respond in the face of Professor Sakai's evident abashment. Would playing dumb be the best way to spare her smarting pride? I can only give it a go. What incident are we referring to, ma'am? I don't remember anything.
Oh, you know, when I made a fool of myself in the street. I presumed it would have stuck in your mind given I looked so idiotic. My behavior was not at all dignified.
I'm afraid I have no idea what you're talking about, ma'am. If you did make a fool of yourself, which I find hard to believe, then I saw nothing of the sort.
Huh?
Perplexed, Professor Sakai blinks at me.
Did you truly not see anything? Are you being quite honest with me?
Well, maybe I did chance upon a woman in a state of distress earlier. Professor Sakai's face turns redder still. But I'd rather not dwell on that. You have nothing to worry about. I'm not going to tell anybody what happened. You just slipped.
Really? Do you promise?
I promise, I don't like gossiping. I think it's tedious, and besides, I wouldn't stand to gain anything from it.
You could always use that story to blackmail me, if you so desired.
Because you slipped on ice? Really? Black what? I raised an eyebrow. Into what?
Oh, you know, all sorts of inappropriate things. It simply wouldn't do, you know, if my students learn how clumsy I am. This is my first time working in an institution as prestigious as this, and I want to make a good first impression. One's reputation is a very, very important thing. It cannot be taken lightly. If my students fail to respect me, I would be left with nothing. That is why I need to take great pains to safeguard how others see me.
Whoa! She's getting really worked up about this. I thought her face was flat before, but now it's positively peony. She did a good job keeping up a cool, undisturbed demeanor during her lecture, but now talking to her one-on-one. I can tell she's something of a warrior. There is a big gap between her stylish appearance and her anxious flights of fancy. I'm starting to feel pretty bad for her, like I did when I saw her trip outside.
I guess I should offer her some words of reassurance.
If you're worried, ma'am, you needed me. I won't breathe a word of what happened to anybody. Your secret is safe with me.
Really? Are you sure you don't want to use this as an opportunity to take advantage of me? For the sake of your silence, you could ask me to do any number of unspeakable things. I'm in your debt, and so would have no choice but to comply.
Are you trying to make me actually do that? What?
I've read about such scenes in certain stories. They tend to get rather spicy.
No, it's fine. You really don't need to worry. I'm not going to use this against you, and I'm not going to demand any kind of payment for my silence. I'm not that scummy. You can trust me. Professor Sakai turns her nose up in response to my sincerity, her arms folded. She doesn't look as placated as I'd hoped. If anything, she seems annoyed. I didn't say anything to upset her, did I?
Being indebted to one of my students is horribly shameful, particularly given this is my first day on the job. This is most vexing, but, well, I suppose I should consider myself fortunate that it was you who discovered me. It seems despite my initial concerns, you really are a nice man.
I do my best, I guess.
And it has worked. I'm most appreciative, Mr. Takagi. Not that this means I'm going to perform any special favors for you or anything. Like I said, you don't have to. I'm not expecting that. Well, good. don't expect anything from me. It's not like I wanted you to use this as a pretext for bossing me around or anything.
I can't with her.
I'm not that desperate at all. Not at all.
Oi. Haru, wanna exchange places? I mean, think about it. She's a professor. Professors earn pretty well. Dude, this is, and she seems like fun. Golden opportunity. I never said you were.
Good. Now,
Professor Sakai plants both her hands on her hips.
I believe our conversation is done. Run along, Mr. Takagi, and don't breathe a word about this to anybody.
I won't. I promise. And I'll see you later, Mom. I mean, technically we could ask her on a date. But after we are done with the university, yeah. My lectures and seminars finish several hours later, and once they do, I make my way over to the astronomy club room. It's around 17:30. Again, Wing Cloud, thank you for using the proper clock, which means the sun should set in around an hour. Until then, however, the last vestiges of sunlight can be seen about the campus, illuminating the glass windows inlaid into the scattered buildings. I step into the old-fashioned beaten-down, out-of-the-way wing where all the less than popular clubs are located, and then take 2 flights of stairs to the 3rd floor. The wooden steps creak worryingly beneath my weight, and the banister wobbles beneath my fingers. One of these days, I'm afraid I will go plummeting straight through the stairs, to the ground floor below. This building is a health and safety inspector's worst nightmare. Wait, would it be his or her worst nightmare? Or more like a dream come true? You barely enter and you close it. I'm surprised nobody sustained any serious injuries here before, unless they have, and the university hushed it up. This place is a total death trap. The actual astronomy club room, however, remains as homey as ever. The wooden floor lends it a whimsically old-fashioned vibe, as does the battered couch. The familiar posters taped to the walls greet me, displaying space and all its wonders in cheerfully bright colors. The scent of green tea permeates the room, making my nostrils twitch. Remind me to buy green tea. Was Hyori brewing the kettle before I arrived? I glance about my surroundings, smiling, and soon locate Hyori herself alongside Anna. I guess Anna must have finished up her shift at the bakery already. Anna is sitting on the couch and Hyori is kneeling behind her. Hyori is holding a hairbrush in one hand, which she carefully runs through Anna's pale green tresses. Anna herself is smiling, her arms wound about her legs. It looks like she's doing her best to keep still, but like a little kid, she can't help but glance up when I enter the room.
Darling, it's good to see you. Hyori and I were waiting for you, isn't it right? Oh, yes. You took your time. I finished my last lecture about an hour ago.
Sorry about that. Mondays always run on late for me. I drop my messenger bag to the ground for 2, then take a seat up on the couch, folding one leg over the other. I tilt my head, askance, and say, "It looks like you two have been keeping busy without my company. Are you practicing to be a hairdresser, Hyori?"
Oh, no. I'm nowhere near good enough with my hands. I just thought I would experiment with some new hairstyles for Anna while we were waiting for you to put in an appearance. She has such a long, lovely hair and feels incredibly soft. You should try touching it yourself. It's addictive. Yeah, why don't you try it, darling? You can run your hands through my hair as much as you like.
Yeah, it's fine. I don't want to get it tangled.
It's alright. If that does happen, you can always unpick the knots. I trust you, darling.
You might, but I don't know if I do. I don't know anything about hair, particularly not long hair like yours. I tend to keep mine short, in case you hadn't noticed. I actually have too lengthy hair now. Not you can see it now, but whatever.
Have you considered growing it out? Someone are into long-haired guys.
Not really. It sounds like it would be a pain to upkeep, and I don't think I'm handsome enough to pull it off.
Oh, now.
Yori pouts.
That's unpleasant true. I think you're plenty handsome, Haru. Me too! Very attractive humanoid out there, but no one can compare to you. That is why you're my darling and nobody else.
You say that, but you always squeal over that one guy from the Visual K group whenever he appears in the magazines you like reading.
Oh my!
Anna puts her eyelashes at me, a coy smile upon her face.
Are you jealous, darling?
Not really, I'm just pointing it out. I know, as far as looks go, I can't compete with that guy.
You don't need to compete with him because you are my darling and Takuto is not. I think he's aesthetically pleasing, yes, but I doubt he would be half so kind and humble as you are.
By the way, that's the correct approach. Do I want to go into spiel?
Oh, are you talking about Takuto from Demon's Keys? I think he's pretty handsome too, and he's more my type.
Hyori and Anna start chatting about this band, while Hyori continues to brush out Anna's hair. Anna's hair is really long and straight, but it seems to glow beneath the bristles of Hyori's brush. I'm content to simply watch them from the couch as they talk. It's nice that they have so much in common, despite Anna being an alien and Hyori a human. I guess it goes to show that, no matter where two people are from, it's always possible to find common ground. Hyori and Anna have grown so close during so short a space of time, they remind me of sisters.
Alright, I think I'm done for now.
Hyori eventually announces are there examining Anna's hair.
I'm afraid that if I kept on brushing, your hair would stick up from the static, and my arm is starting to hurt. You really do have a lot of hair, Anna. Oh, I know! It's my pride and joy! Hoo-hoo! It used to be longer actually when I was smaller.
Really?
Oh yeah, I had so much weight I could sit on it. I looked just like the girl from that fairy story where Flynx sucked so much. The one locked away in tower by a wicked witch. I liked having such a great deal of hair, but it really was unmanageable. It used to get caught indoors all the time. Once Ravi tied it to my bedpost while I was asleep as a practical joke, but she tied it so tightly I had to be cut-free.
Who?
My parents were very angry at Ravi. They even threatened to fire her. Fire Groot on her behalf. I knew she didn't mean any harm by it. It was just a prank.
Is it like a maid or... Oh, okay, he doesn't know as well. Ravi. I froze. Who's that? One of your friends back on Corval?
Oh, you don't know her? Haven't I mentioned her before? Ravi was one of my mates. She used to look after me. But yeah, she was also my friend. She was my best friend, in fact. We got up to all sorts of mischief together. I wonder what she's doing now.
I still wonder about my suspicion of those triangles on the cheek, right? Our professor also has them. I wonder if maybe she is also an alien, which I mentioned the previous one. But yeah. Missing you in all likelihood. Didn't you tell her you were leaving Corval?
I couldn't tell anybody. I was afraid if anybody at the palace knew of my plans, they would tell my parents, and they would never be able to escape. I do miss Ravi a good deal, but
A shadow crosses Anna's face, but it lingers for only a few moments. Soon another smile comes, banishing her brief bout of sadness.
I'm happy enough here upon this planet. I love spending time with you, Hiyori, and I especially enjoy spending time with my darling. I have no reason to be sad, none at all. Now, why don't we help ourselves to some green tea? Hiyori has been brewing it for your arrival, Haru.
Yeah, so it was green tea I smelled earlier.
Didn't you say that?
I thought I recognized that aroma.
We can all partake in a cup of delicious hot leaf water to warm us up, and then we can go to the roof once the sun sets. I've been anticipating tonight's stargazing session since I woke this morning. Oh my, somebody's eager.
Hiyori giggles.
You're not even an official member of our club, but you're putting Haru and I to shame.
Oh no, I won't let anybody best me. I've been passionate about the stars event since I was a little kid. You might come from space, Anna, but your enthusiasm no match for mine.
Really?
Anna grins.
Maybe we should make a competition of it then. Let us see who can identify the most constellations during tonight's club activities. The loser has to buy the winners a week's worth of pudding from the convenience store on the way home. How does that sound?
Bring it on. This will be a cinch. I just hope you've been saving up your money, Anna, cause you will be seriously short on cash once the day comes to a close. There is no way you'll be able to best me. I wouldn't be so sure about that. I think she might have, more vast of a knowledge after she came from the space.
Well, we'll just see about that. You might be my darling, but I won't go easy on you. Not when there is pudding on the line.
I've got something more important than pudding at stake here. My pride as an astrologer won't let me lose. I mean, technically you are not yet one yet, but...
Yeah, do your best you two. I'll be cheering you on. Now why don't you have some tea?
Hiyori hands both Anna and I a cup of green tea, then sits beside us on the couch with her own cup. She sighs as she ingests it, her cheeks pinking from its warmth.
It's very soothing. Wouldn't you two agree? Indeed, I would. Your tea's always delicious, Hiyori. Why, thank you. These leaves are a rather fancy blend my parents sent me. I don't know how much they cost, but I bet they're a luxury brand. My parents have no qualms when it comes to splashing about enormous sums of money.
Yeah, they've always doted on you, haven't they?
They don't skimp on their affections, no, but it does make me wonder. It feels like they're overcompensating. But perhaps I'm thinking about it too much.
Hiyori brings her teacup to her lips, then takes another sip of the fancy green tea blend her parents sent her. I mean... we could talk why that is. We know a little bit from Sakura Alien, the first one. About Hiyori. And the backstory and so on. Her family. Yeah. Anyway. I follow suit, sipping on my own tea. I hope he's not making any noise while sipping for. True to Anna's earlier exclamations and Hiyori's hype, that it does taste good. If I had to describe it, I'd say it tastes like a hug distilled into its purest components. Okay. It's chilly in the astronomy club room, but the cup of tea in my hands, not to mention the aftertaste of said tea on my tongue, is towing me out nicely. The three of us drink, talking companionably all the while as the sun sets. Eventually, when it's pitch dark outside, Hiyori stands and says,
"Shall we go to the roof then?" "Oh yeah, let's! It's time for your competition, darling. I'm going to name every constellation I can see, and then you'll have to buy me a lot of delicious pudding. I can practically taste it now.
Yeah, in your dreams maybe. There's no way I'll lose to a ditz like you.
Well, we'll just see about that. I might be a ditz, but I'm also an alien. I have the overwhelming advantage. You just wait.
I help her collapse and carry her telescope, then set off. I have not gone more than 2 steps, however, when I'm halted by the sound of a very serious voice.
Stop right there, you free. I know what you've been getting up to, and it won't fly on my watch. I can't let you continue your so-called club activities tonight.
A woman is standing in the doorway of the clubroom, her purple eyes narrowed. She's wearing a charcoal-colored sweater which clings to her every curve, over which is layered a long, dark coat. I recognize this woman instantly. This is the third time our paths crossed today, in a manner just as unexpected as our last encounters. It is, of course, Professor Sakai.
What? Oh.
Professor Sakai jumps when she sees me. Her eyes widen to comic proportions, and a hot blush spreads across her pale cheeks.
I didn't expect to see you here, Mr. Takagi. This is quite the surprise. We really ought to stop running into each other like this.
Yeah, we really should. And no, I don't dislike seeing you. Let's go. It's a bit of a strange coincidence, I guess, that our paths have crossed so many times today. But I don't really mind. I rather like your company.
Do you now?
Hotly, Professor Sakai blushes.
I appreciate the compliment, but this is rather strange. One would be excused for thinking that this university has only 5 students, not over 5,000.
Professor Sakai clears her throat, her arms folded. The worst of her blush has now faded, but she still looks shaken. Now I'm starting to wonder. If Professor Sakai was an animal, what would she be? I don't know why he's thinking that, but whatever. I think a deer might suit her. They appear graceful from a distance. No, they don't. No, they don't. No, they don't. With their light limbs and their dark, intelligent eyes. Intelligent eyes. Now that's bullshit. If I heard one, but when they get spooked, they bolt for it. Intelligent eyes. Yeah, right. More like eyes of a dumbass. Deers aren't dumb as heck.
Oh my!
Haru looks Professor Sakai over, her hands clasped at her front.
I remember you. You're the woman Haru and I met earlier, when we were walking to the campus. How are you, and what are you doing here?
Professor Sakai winces.
So, it seems I've met with yet another person who saw me at my most vulnerable. How embarrassing. Please, forget the shameful sight you witnessed earlier this morning. Do not dwell upon it, and do not speak about it. It would damage my reputation if my clumsiness became common knowledge about the campus. As for who I am...
Professor Sakai clears her throat, then introduces herself.
My name is Professor Sakai.
Again, why are you starting with Prof? Makes sense that Professor, but it's not a name.
Anyway, I'm a new hire at this university, and I'll be standing in for Professor Arata for the foreseeable future. Oh, I see. So that's why you were going this morning.
That's why you were going this morning. That's why you were going. What does that even mean?
I guess it makes sense that we would run into each other, given we're heading in the same direction. I'm sorry, but I have no recollection of what it is you're talking about. I certainly don't recall seeing it this morning. And that didn't trip and fall on my behind either. If it's the first time I have met, I am certain.
You have met what? Who?
Oh, alright?
Yuri tilts her head to one side, her expression quizzical.
Let's go with that, if it makes you more comfortable. Thank you. That is most considerate of you, miss. Oh, I'm Akasaka Hyori. And I'm Anna. Just Anna. I don't know who you are or what's going on, but it's very nice to meet you. Let's all be friends. I think that is a bit presumptuous. Do not forget, Miss Anna, that I am a professor. I can hardly befriend my students. It would not be proper. That is not why I'm here either. I have no desire to make your acquaintance. No. When you come here, Dad? I'm here because I have heard many stories about the astronomy club from my fellow faculty members. They told me that your so-called club has only 2 official members, which is outrageous. All clubs need at least 5 to continue their operations. That you have less than half this requirement means your club ought not to be functioning. I understand I'm new hire, but I'm a stickler for the rules. They exist for a reason.
Oh boy. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time that we actually use the blackmail option, I guess. Well, I was supposed not to, but this situation might be calling for it.
The rest of the faculty may turn a blind eye to your antics, but I shall not. I have come here to insist that your club cease operations at once, else you'll face disciplinary measures. Huh? I think you're taking this a bit too seriously, Professor. I know that we're missing a few members, but the Astronomy Club has a long, storied history. It's been around for more than 2 decades. You wouldn't shut us down over a mere technicality, would you? I can, and I absolutely would. Why? I don't believe Miss Anna here is even enrolled at this university. She's not a proper student.
I guess she's not wrong there, so I can't refute her, but... Who told you that exactly?
A fellow professor. We do talk amongst ourselves, you know. They mentioned that a strange girl had begun to show up on the campus, who seemed to spend most of her time in the astronomy club room. It took little in the way of brain power for me to deduce that you must be the strange girl of which my colleague was speaking, Miss Anna. Your refusal to tell me your family name is most suspect. I could give you my family name if you really wanted, but I'd have to be able to pronounce it. It's a little tricky for Earthlings to wrap their tongues around.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Earthlings.
Professor Sakai raises an eyebrow. She looks so perturbed by this, I feel obliged to try and cover for Anna's mishap. She means, Japanese people. Anna's from another country, see, and her grasp of our language isn't the best. Sometimes she makes mistakes.
I see. So, Miss Anna, in addition to not being a student at this university, he's also a foreign refugee?
No, that's not quite true. She's a refugee in a sense, and an undocumented one at that, but she doesn't come from another country. Try another planet. Yeah. Professor Sakai can do a deep dive into Anna's history if she wants, but I doubt she'll be able to uncover anything. I wonder if that would make Anna seem more or less suspicious. I've only just started to enjoy my newfound life with Anna and Hyori. I don't want Anna's true identity as an alien being uncovered. I'm afraid that would pose a real damper on things. Anna's circumstances are special. She's a friend of my family and she's come to Japan for a long vacation. Her parents asked me to show her around, but I can't put my studies on hold, so I've been bringing her to the astronomy club with me. There is nothing suspicious about any of this, I swear.
I never said there was. I only mentioned that it was unusual.
Professor Sakai frowns.
This is all very strange. You're acting most bizarrely, Mr. Takagi. Why? It is most as though you are trying to hide something from me.
Oh no, I would never do that. I'm an upstanding citizen, Professor, please believe me.
I would like to, but even if I was to swallow your story about Miss Anna without question, that does not change the fact that your club is in violation of the university's rules. I really should ask the three of you to clear out this clubroom post-haste so that it can be allocated to a more deserving club. You have avoided punishment for much too long. As a defender of justice, I cannot stand to see you profit from my colleagues' apathy and laziness.
Wow! Professor Sakai sure is coming down hard on us. It's her first day on the job, and she's going all in on laying down the law. I guess there is no such thing as caring too much about one's job, but I can't say I like being caught up on in all of this. I don't want to get hauled into any disciplinary meetings, I just want to go stargazing. Is it really too much to ask?
Professor, please. I understand that as it stands, the astronomy club should not be functioning as it is, but I don't feel our club should be disbanded. We buy all our equipment out of pocket, and we don't constantly bother our fellow students. We've never once asked the university for preferential treatment, and we're not a drain on the university's resources. Please can't you see it in your heart to let our transgression slide? This club is very important to me. I love looking at the stars as do Haru and Lena. I'd be heartbroken if we couldn't go stargazing anymore.
Professor Sakai presses her lips together.
I'm not one easily swayed by excuses, and yours are awfully flimsy. Your reasons for keeping the club's door open boil down, in my eyes, to nothing more than self-interest. You're being awfully inconsiderate. But disbanding the club would be an onerous process. I would have to talk to my superiors, and then would have to fill in a good deal of paperwork, which would take several weeks. Nothing is simple, owing to bureaucracy. It is awfully slow, no matter what institution you are working for.
Right.
I suppose I can let you off the hook just this once.
Oh my god, which reminds me, I also have to deal with bureaucracy soon. I need to go and unregister my old car. Fuck me. And they have ridiculous hours. They are open from 8 in the morning till 3. Which is ridiculous. Like, what the fuck? Those places should be open later. They should be basically open in the afternoon hours until evening. It's such a bullshit. Like this I hate this country so much, man. Anyway.
I suppose I can let you off the hook just this once. Oh, thank you, Professor. Thank you very much. But I'm not going to leave you to your own desires. The astronomy club has been left to run riot for far too long without any supervision from a faculty member. I will oversee your activities for the foreseeable future, and if you do anything to displease me, I shall file a formal complaint. Am I making myself plain? Oh yeah, I understand, Professor, but please don't worry. Everything we do in the astronomy club is above board. I can imagine you'll find anything to arouse your ire. Well, we'll see about that. Now, what do the three of you usually do so late at night? You really should be on your way back home by now. You might slip and hurt yourself in the dark.
Right. What? Naked, I want to say. But this retort, witty footage, remains unspoken. I totally wanted to do that too. Professor Sakai seems irate enough as this. Without my provoking her, I don't want to piss her off too much. Lest she make good on her threats and shut down the club for good. I should let Hiyori deal with this. She is the club's president after all. I have faith in her.
Oh, I can Don't worry about us, Professor. We're used to hanging out on the campus at this hour. We have to wait until it gets dark, or we wouldn't be able to go stargazing. That's what we're about to do, actually, until you stopped by. Do you want to come to the roof with us? I've never been stargazing with Professor before, but I bet it will be a lot of fun. I can't wait to get started.
One hour later. Well.
Oh, the stars look so pretty tonight. There aren't many clouds, so I can see them very clearly. Do you want to take a look at them, Anna? Yeah, I do. Of course I do. Please show me, Professor. Are you my professor now? Am I?
Hiyori giggles.
I think you should be saying that to Professor Sakai rather than myself. She really is an educator. I don't know all that much, really. But I can tell you a little bit about constellations if you're curious. I know you're familiar with all their names, but do you know the stories behind these constellations? Huh? The constellations have stories? Yeah, they do. Throughout the centuries, we must have picked out patterns in the stars to which we assign all sorts of stories. I suppose one of the most famous constellations, which you should be able to see if you angle the telescope like this.
Hiyori adjusts the lens of the telescope while Anna peers through the eyepiece excitedly.
Is Cassiopeia. The constellation was named after a queen from a Greek mythology who...
Hiyori begins to explain the origins of Cassiopeia to Anna, who nods enthusiastically, steering through the telescope's eyepiece. I meanwhile watch the pair of them standing a little distance away alongside Professor Sakai. It seems like the competition Anna proposed will suddenly have to be put on hold. I feel a touch self-conscious about letting myself go around Professor Sakai. She's my lecturer, after all. It wouldn't do to horse around in front of her. It might lessen her opinion of me. Sorry, dog just dropped the pillow from the bed. I'm glad that Hiyori and Anna don't seem to share my compunctions. At least they do seem to be enjoying themselves just fine. I'm content at simply watching them. Their cheery banter fills me with warmth, which is a good thing given how pitilessly cold it is tonight. I shiver, my hands lurch deep into my pockets. A frigid wind blows, disturbing the hem of my coat and my hair. It's so gelid, it's a wonder my teeth aren't chattering. As for Professor Sakai, meanwhile... It looks like her teeth really are clicking away, just like castanets. Her arms are folded across her chest, perhaps in an attempt to conserve her warmth, but it doesn't seem to be helping. Her chest rises and falls with erratic breaths, her every exhalation visible in cozy translucent clouds of air. Professor Sakai's eyes are narrowed, and her gaze is focused, not upon the night sky, but upon the two women staring up at it. She's staring at Anna intensely, to such a degree it's alarming. If looks could kill, Anna would be dead twice over. I wonder what her problem is. Excuse me? I turned to face Professor Sakai, frowning. But are you alright?
What? I apologize for worrying you, Mr. Takagi, but I'm perfectly fine. My thoughts were wandering, that is all.
Oh? I inclined my head to one side, my curiosity piqued. Would you mind telling me what you were thinking about? It must be something serious based on your expression.
Oh no, it's nothing really.
Are you sure? I don't know why exactly, but I feel obliged to press Professor Sakai on the issue. Something about her stare was unnerving, and I don't like that it seemed too direct at Anna. It was almost like she was trying to stare, not at her, but through her. Anna didn't do something to upset you, did she?
Other than being an outsider, who has no right to spend at this university? No, not really. Why? Is there something I should know about her?
No, there's nothing. Nothing at all. Nothing, save Anna being an alien, of course. Anna's a good girl. She'd never do anything to hurt anybody.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. I suppose it should not be too surprising, for You do not seem to be the sort of man who would embroil yourself with unpleasant people. I'm sure Miss Anna is perfectly lovely. Miss Akasaka too. And yet...
Professor Sakai's brow furrows. She placed one hand beneath her chin, as though in thought, and then...
Achoo!
A sudden cough seized her, so her shoulders shuddered. The cough was so unexpected and so loud, too, it even managed to make me jump. Are you right, Professor?
I'm fine. It is simply chilly. My scout is doing little to protect me from the cold, I fear. Brrr.
Professor Sakai's teeth began to chatter anew. Wincing, she rubbed her arms in an attempt to warm herself up.
How much time do you usually spend stargazing? Here. It is as though we've been standing up on this miserable rooftop for hours already. If I continue to stay here, I fear I'll freeze to death.
We should be heading back in soon enough. If it gets really bad, though, I can tell Hiyori. I'm sure she wouldn't mind curtailing things a bit early.
Would that really be alright?
Sure. I don't want you to catch a cold.
It's very thoughtful of you, Mr. Takagi. I do wonder why you care for my well-being so. I should not be here at all, really. I know I have imposed upon your typical club activities. I'm being very unfair.
Maybe you are just a little. Meh, I don't really mind. It's fine, I don't mind.
You don't?
Uh-huh. I shake my head. I know you're not trying to single me out to be malicious, you're just doing your job. I'm not going to hold this against you.
How magnanimous of you.
Professor Sakai smiles.
Thank you, Mr. Takagi. You're even kinder than I first imagined. I wish more young men were like you. Then the world would be a better place.
Maybe.
More youngsters should respect their elders. It is a most sorry state of affairs that...
Professor Sakai sneezes for a second time, more loudly than the last. Her sneezing is enough to draw Hiyori away from her history lesson and Anna away from the telescope. They both look back at Professor Sakai from over their shoulders, blinking in twin concern.
Are you alright, Mom? Your immune system is not being compromised by weak pathogens, is it? No, I'm fine.
Professor Sakai reassures them with a wave of her hand.
I'm experiencing nothing more than a mild chill. I'll be quite alright. As a grown woman, I'm more capable of looking after myself. You two ought to return to your stargazing. Do not let me interrupt you. I'm perfectly fine.
Now, that sneeze was the most impressive, and by impressive I mean violent, of the lot. Professor Sakai can try to dress it up however she wants, but it's plain as day. No, not that it's the day right now, but she isn't alright. She is shivering so wildly, she looks like she might fall apart, and her nose is starting to turn pink. I guess I ought to step in before she cuts her death. Alright, I think we've had enough stargazing for one night. Our professor can only take so much. Let's go back inside, it's pretty late anyway. Anna pouts.
Haru was busy telling me a story. It was very, very interesting. I want to hear more of their tales. But I don't know Professor Sakai to expire either.
Expire?
I suppose we can postpone things for tomorrow. That sounds like a good idea to me. I'm getting pretty chilly too. You free.
Professor Sakai glances between us, her eyes full of gratitude.
You're all awfully nice. I'm flattered by your attentions. I fear I do not deserve them. Not after I have caused you such problems. If you were insolent and rude, I'll feel less guilty about enacting my plans, but alas.
Professor Sakai sighs, then says,
You are putting me in quite a difficult position. My mission might prove to be more of a challenge than I first thought.
I can't sneeze like fake sneeze for a... for the love of God.
Achoo!
With the astronomy club's activities curtailed for the night, the four of us vacate the roof and return to the club room. Haru carries her collapsible telescope under one arm, despite my offer to carry it in her stead.
I'll be fine.
She reassured me when I offered, ever the gentleman.
I'm stronger than Luke, and I want to build up my muscles anyway, huh?
That game is news to me. I know Haru is good at baseball, but beyond that I didn't think she was all that interested in sports. Maybe she wants to work on her fitness, so she can best Professor Sakai in hand-to-hand combat. What? Should they ever come to blows over the future of the club? What? That's vaguely amusing image, I suppose. But it doesn't lessen the tension I can feel curling in the pit of my stomach. What will happen to the astronomy club now that Professor Sakai set her sights on disbanding it? She will not do that. The uncertainty is unnerving. I can't help but feel perturbed. I glanced at Professor Sakai surreptitiously as we walk back to the club room. Her arms are folded as she walks, her high heels striking the warped wood with a series of tugs. She too seems to be deep in thought. She looks similarly contemplative on the roof, but she wasn't staring at the stars. I'm certain she was gazing at Anna. I wonder why. I'm turning these thoughts over in my mind like a salad when... Ah! Professor Sakai gasps. She must have caught her foot on something. It's easily done in this wing of the university, given how even the floor is, and it doesn't help that Professor Sakai's heels are so high. She falls forward, arms splayed, her eyes wide. It takes me all of 0.0400 seconds to decide whether I should catch her, and a further 0.0300 seconds before I am at her side. Professor! I might have one or two suspicions about Professor Sakai and her sudden appearance in my life, but that doesn't mean I'm about to let her face plant into the ground. I've got to try and help her. Try being the operative word. I throw out my arms to catch her, but Sakai's body is heavier than I thought. Her chest collides into mine with a tooth, knocking all the air out of me. Ugh. Professor Sakai's having bosom, as it transpires, doesn't offer all that much insulation against the forces. The laws of physics are merciless. Now it's my turn to fall over backwards. I tether precariously for a few moments and then... Haru! Darling, are you right? I fall. Ow! I land awkwardly on my back, banging my elbow in the process. If that was all the damage I'd sustained, maybe I'd be able to walk it off, but...
Hey! Professor? Oh no!
In my current position, I'm in no fit state to walk anywhere. Let's go! We are going the professor in the end, guys. I don't care. She's best girl. Professor Sakai is now lying on top of me, in the middle of the hallway, pinning me to the floor with both arms. Her legs, clad in her black pantyhose, are entwined with mine, and her surprised eyes look very large indeed. By the way, this is the first day still. Our faces are so close, she would probably dip her head and kiss me if she so desired. Professor Sakai's impressive chest heaves up and down her every exhalation, and her cheeks are tinged pale pink. There isn't much space between us. I can feel the warmth of her body bleeding through her clothes. It helps offset the chill of the wintry air. Somewhat, but I think things might be getting a little too heated between us. This is hardly an appropriate position for a professor and their student to be entangled in. Oh dear. Professor Sakai stammers, all the while blinking rapidly.
My apologies, Mr. Takagi. I was lost in thought and... well, you can see what happened. I really must learn to be more careful. I hope I haven't harmed you in any way.
Dude, imagine saying the first one, like how much of a dick you have to be to someone. And she's definitely not heavy. No worries, girl. Oh no, I'm fine. Actually, better than fine. I tried to reassure Professor Sakai, for in truth, my head is pounding. It suffered a pretty nasty knock when I hit the ground, as did my elbow, which is now aching. I don't think I've broke anything, but I've certainly felt better. I'm happy to help. I could hardly stand by and let you collapse. If I was able to break your fall, then I'm happy.
Oh wow, get him.
Haru, who's standing off to one side, giggles to herself.
Haru's even trying to put the moves on his new professor. He's so daring. My darling, it's certainly quite the playboy. But that's fine. I'll forgive him no matter how many women he seduces. He can't help it, I suppose, being so suave and charming. Such a flirtatious life must come to him naturally, as easily as breathing.
Oh, give it a rest, you two. I'm not trying to flirt with my professor. I'm just being a decent human being.
And since when does being a decent human being involve being pinned on the floor looking all rumbled? You look just like the models in those loot magazines you keep hidden in the back of your closet, darling.
What loot magazines? Just ignore Anna. She doesn't mean anything about it, yeah.
Yes, I do. I'm talking about...
My reading habits are irrelevant right now. I glower at Anna, still pinioned to the ground beneath Professor Sakai's wave. Why does she have to choose now, of all times, to bring up those magazines? God damn it! There is never a good time to talk about such material, but it's even worse now with Professor Sakai's body being pressed up against me. My imagination is running wild as this, without her making things more awkward.
In any event, I'm truly remorseful about this. I fear I've done nothing but make a nuisance out of myself since meeting you, Mr. Takagi. I promise I'm not always this careless.
That's fine. I believe you, so, I look up at Professor Sakai, whose face still is very close to mine, and fluster. Would you mind getting off me, if you're able? The floor isn't very comfortable. And I append internally, it's awkward being stared at by Anna and Hiyori.
Oh, yeah. My apologies and once more. I'm so very dazed, I mustn't be thinking clearly. I'll get off you at once. I hope you can forgive me.
It's fine.
Like I said, no harm was done.
My back does hurtful. But being pinned to the ground by Professor Sakai wasn't bad experience per se. I'm not sure it's one I'd want to repeat in a hurry, not with Hiyori and Anna present in any event. If Professor Sakai and I were alone, then maybe... But wait, what am I thinking about?
Now's not the time for idle musings.
I already have Anna and Hiyori. Isn't that enough to satisfy me?
Since when did I become so greedy? Maybe my housemates are right about me. I really am the worst.
Well, I already said we are after that teacher. I mean, professor. Dude. If a professor looks like that, we are after her. With the astronomy club's activities over for the day, or night, I suppose you could say, I walked back to my apartment with Anna. It's still after 22. That's 10 PM in Kois for some reason you don't know. And the chill air is colder than ever before. I shiver in my coat, my hands buried deep inside the pockets of my pants. While I walk, my footsteps echoing about the empty streets, I think back upon Professor Sakai. And no, I'm not just thinking about our close, intimate encounter in the hallway, for I'd be lying if I said that didn't occupy at least a silver of my brain working capacity. I can still recall how she gazed at Anna on the rooftop, as for she was searching for something. What was the searching for? What was she searching for? Was she even searching for anything? Could it be possible I'm reading into things too much?
I had so much fun tonight.
Anna exclaims, drawing me from my thoughts. She beams, her arms sling behind her back, then glances at me from over her shoulder.
It's a shame we weren't able to go ahead with our competition as we had planned. I was looking forward to eating a week's supply of pudding. But I suppose we can postpone it for a later date, huh?
You're that certain you'd win, huh?
Of course. When it comes to the purse of pudding, I have no option but to emerge a victor. Your wallet may have been able to escape tonight, darling, but you won't be so fortunate next time. Ooh, ho, 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 ho.
Anna laughs enthusiastically, like a blue-blooded lady. Her laughter is so raucous, I'm afraid she may disturb the people in the apartment blocks that we pass during our walk. But I remind myself it's not all that late. Yeah, it's my running hour. I might be running right past you. If I were living there. It's pitch black outside, sure, save for the round pale moon, but it's always dark around this time of the year. I'm sure it will be fine. I hope to be fine, at least, and I'm not just referring to Anna's laugh, or even the weak supply of pudding she's certain I'll have to purchase for her. Hey Anna, I was wondering something.
What is it, darling?
This might be imagination, but, well. Do you notice that Professor Sakura was staring at you when we were on the roof?
She was.
I think so. You were looking up at the stars with fury, so maybe it slipped your attention, but she couldn't keep her eyes off of you. She was transfixed. Anna ponders, one hand beneath her lower lip. I'm anxious that this news might make Anna anxious in turn, but...
Well, that might not be so very strange. Yuri has said on multiple occasions that I'm very pretty. Perhaps you Earthlings are naturally attracted to me as moths are to flames.
So you think Professor Sakai has a crush on you?
She could, that is a possibility. I know it is not so very common, but it's not unheard of for Earthling females to fall in love with one another. They can do any number of intimate things together, just as Earthlings males and females can. I know, I've seen the magazines in your closet, and I've read a lot of books in the university library too. I've become quite the professor myself when it comes to matters of Earthling intimacy.
I don't know if that is something you should so proud about. I flick Anna's forehead, and she winces. What are you, fraud? Don't tell you're thinking of pursuing a career in sexual psychoanalysis.
Is that a thing? I don't know much about Freud.
It seems she has a few blind spots after all, despite her thirst for knowledge.
But I do know that love is something which should be celebrated, regardless whether it is between a male and a female, or two females, or two males. Some of the books I have read even documented interspecies romances between females and vampires, or males and feline female.
What? What? Feline My bro furrows. You mean cat girls?
Yeah, that's right. Sakubi seem like popular targets for romantic liaisons too, and one with whooping features. You must have created a good deal of art about any number of romantic entanglements. You are so open-minded.
Some people are too open-minded.
Why, just the other day I read a very interesting story about the woman the whole...
Okay, now you're going too far. I give Anna's forehead another flick. I know what Anna's been reading exactly. Filth, it would seem. But I might have to start vetting what books she checks out at the university library. Why does the library even have books like that? I can understand the slew... Oh yeah, now that I think about it. After the first Alien, I was saying something about maybe going to the library of my university that I studied at. To check out their library, basically, and what books they have. I did not do that. I was close by, phone. But turns out even all the free parking spots that there were around the place now are paid, so... the plan has failed, because I'm not going to pay for the parking spot there, for sure. Fuck this country for trying to freaking make every parking spot paid. It's so annoying. Honestly, year by year, it's getting worse and worse. Everything. Anyway, sticking to the realm of fantasy beings is one thing, but there are limits. In any event, I doubt Professor Sakai has a crush on you.
What? But why? Don't you think I'm cute?
You're very cute, but that isn't the issue here. Professor Sakai wasn't staring at you as somebody might have at their crush. Her gaze felt more intense somehow.
Ooh, is there anything more intense than romance?
Maybe not, but I frown. I think you should try to keep your distance from her. I don't trust her.
My.
A smiling Anna loops her arms through mine, then presses our bodies close.
Are you worried she might steal me away from you, darling? Is that why you are warning me so?
I'm worried, yeah. You've become an important part of my life, and I don't want anybody discovering your true identity, and I definitely don't want them coming between us. Not even if I said a person is a beautiful, slightly gothic older woman like Professor Sakai.
Yeah.
I wanted that professor. She's easy on the eyes, certainly, but that would be enough to console me, should she start causing problems. I'm content with my life as it is. I don't want it falling apart on me. I'll try to look after you as best as I can, but you need to be more careful too. You can't let anybody know you're an alien, least of all Professor Sakai. That would cause all kinds of problems.
I think you may be worrying unnecessarily. But alright.
Yeah, I also think that he's worrying unnecessarily. I'm telling you, she might be an alien too. Dude. A gothic alien professor. That's a hot woman. Anyway, another lens with a smile.
I shall strive to be even more circumspect in my actions, if that is what you desire. I do not wish to concern you, darling, for I must admit part of me is glad you are fretting so for my sake.
A giggling Anna stands on her tiptoes, then presses a feather-like kiss to my cheek.
It is most gratifying to know that you have come to care about me so. It makes my heart feel all fluttery. I know this is not the most scientific of terms, but I think this must be true love.
Huh? Alright, with that statement, let's end the episode. We'll of course continue tomorrow. You know what we'll do? Let's drop Dude, she's the one. She's the one in this alien story. Oh, is it broken? It's broken.
Cloud, your screenshots are broken. What the fuck?
Which reminds me, there was one that was kind of broken as well at some point. We were playing a save game, right? Because always save. But if you went next, and then back, you could still see the not save pictures. That was funny. Anyway, oi, I can't get this. This is annoying. I want this one with Professor. You know what's also annoying? The fact they, even if you told them about it, they would probably not update this. Shame. Okay, let's get this one then. Yeah, basically, I think safely can say within the 52nd episode that Professor Sakai has become my number one person of interest in this game. In Sakura Alien. Which probably isn't surprising. Damn, I'm yawning a little bit. Sorry about that. So let's end it here, seriously. If you enjoyed the video, like it, Subscribe if you haven't already. There will be, of course, more of Sakura Alien 2. And as far as I'm concerned, Wingcloud also works still on Sakura Melody. So in the probably not that much of the far future, it will be here as well. So, you know, tell me what you think of Professor Sakai. If that was your professor, would you attend the lectures? I would definitely. I would be even almost on time. That would be the single lecture on which I would not be late. The only one. The others doesn't matter. This one, I would be always there on time. Always until the very end. I would even ask questions after. Yeah, okay, that's it. Oh yeah, there's also Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, to which you can go if you are into that stuff. So yeah, on Twitch we are like guerrilla streaming sometimes, which basically means Friday, sometimes Saturday too. That's it. Hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you hopefully in the next video. Bye bye.